That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Hi and welcome to Gamers Web. My name is Mark, and what I'm going to do right now is give you a quick walkthrough on how to assemble one of the alien warriors from the Another Glorious Day in the Core board game from Gale Force 9. Now, if you're an avid board gamer, this might be a bit of a departure for you because none of the miniatures come assembled in the basic version. The only way you can get the miniatures assembled is by buying the deluxe edition. So you have to assemble all the miniatures yourself. It's not as off-putting as it sounds. It's quite simple, and I'm just going to talk you through it very quickly, and we'll do it step by step. Okay, so step one is what you're going to need. You need a work surface, obviously, to actually prepare your miniatures. You need your instruction sheet, which comes in the box. You'll need a set of side snips or clippers. If you don't have these, a good X-Acto blade or hobby knife will do, but I would suggest getting these because they're very good and they're not very expensive. You'll need some polystyrene cement or super glue if you want to use super glue, but I'd try, if you're new to hobbying, I wouldn't use super glue. I'd just use polystyrene cement. All these will be available in your local hobby store or model shop, depending on whereabouts you live. Dead easy to get hold of. You'll need a hobby knife. This is just a cheap £1.99 knife that I got from my local hobby store, Wonderland. And a big shout out to the guys at Wonderland, because they do some amazing kits and stuff there, and the staff are really friendly. In fact, actually, I'll put a link in the video later on where you can actually get supplies anywhere in the world from Wonderland, because they do mail order. And you will also need your sprue of models, which we've got here, which is the aliens that come in the box set. So I've done these in my review. I've shown you what they look like unassembled, as you can see here. You get 4 sprues of these in the box. They're all identical, and I've left this one till last just so I can show you how easily they go together. There is one fiddly bit, which is putting the actual alien onto the base, but I'll show you how to do that, and I'll show you a cheating way of doing it as well. Okay, so let's jump straight in. Right, so we have our assembly guide here, and it goes in 4 steps. So step 1, step 2, step 3, and then step 4. I suppose 5 steps really, because you've got to put the arms and legs on, arms and tail on. Okay, so step 1 is you need to assemble the aliens' heads for the bodies and glue them in place. Now, this one is one that you really need to pay attention with when you actually look at the assembly instructions. Don't just go jumping straight in and thinking that you'll be able to get away with it, because, you know, I've been modelling for a long time. I did that and I messed it up. So okay, right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in so you can actually see that each of these models is numbered. So on the sprue, I'm going to turn the sprue the right way around, they can actually see the right numbers. So this says B3, B1, B2, I can't see where B4 is. We'll do the A's, yeah, the A's are easier. So A3, A2, A1, A5, A6 and A7. Right, so all these pieces here go to make one alien with that base. As long as you've got the head, and there's a choice of 2 heads per alien, the base and the 2 body halves, it doesn't matter about anything else, because the tails and the arms can go on any way you want to. They are quite easy to go on. Okay, but the legs of this alien will only fit on base A. They won't look right otherwise. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip out these parts with my snippers, putting them as flush to the actual plastic as possible, so I don't leave any burrs if possible. And then all I need to do now is just pop, that comes out. Now there's a slight burr line on there, which I can go off with my knife in a moment. And then next part is to just go around this thing, this entire frame, and snip out the pieces. Be careful when you do this tail, because the tail actually has a little knobble at the end that goes onto the miniature itself, like this, which I've just cut off. Oh well. Easy come, easy go. Right, okay, so I'm just going to pull the pieces out like that, and I'm taking out all of the A pieces. I'm not going to bother with anything else. I'm just going to do the one figure, and I'll just pause this and get these off. Okay, right, so I've got all the pieces taken off the sprue now. 2 body halves, the 2 arms, the 2 heads, and the tail and the base. And what I need to do now is just quickly go and have a quick look to see if there's any burr plastic left over from the actual sprue, which there doesn't seem to be very much, and it's normally quite easy to tidy up. You just get the back of your blade and just, sorry, wrong way around, and just run it like that over the blade, and it'll make it nice and flush. I shall show you on here if I can find where the piece is. There's a little burr there, and all I do is just like that, and nice and flush. You can do this with an emery board or a modelling file, but you've got to be careful because you don't want to take any detail off. Right, okay, so our assembly instructions going step by step. Step 1 basically is assembling the head to the body, and I'm just going to zoom in a moment so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so we have 2 different heads. We have this one, and we also have this one. So it's a choice of which of the 2 heads you use, but as you can see, the spine part of the head is exactly the same on both of them. On the others it's slightly different, they only fit on one body. So for this purpose I'm actually going to get rid of the one with the mouth open. I'm just going to go for, with the tongue out, sorry, I'm just going to go for the one with the mouth open, because I quite like that one. Okay, right, so I've just found a burr plastic on the top of this, so I'm just going to very gently move it towards my thumb, like that, and just scrape. There we go. Right, so you need to get your polystyrene cement. Now this one comes with a needle applicator. It's quite easy to use. Just going to put a little drop on my paper just to make sure it's working. Yep. And then you get either the left or the right half of the body. Doesn't matter which one you use. Get your head, and this only goes one way. You need to just put it so it fits. So the body, hold the body in one hand, and then put the head so the head and the spine fit along the back of the model. Sounds a bit crazy, but it's quite easy to do. So here we go, just a little tiny bit of glue on one side, get the head like that, and then just put it on. Right. And then we put a little drop of glue in the reservoir, a bit too much glue there, but okay, and then we just marry these 2 parts up like this, and it's quite easy because you heard there's an audible click when it is in place, and you need to hold it in place for a few seconds before it dries. You've got a little bit of working time with polystyrene cement, unlike super glue, which will dry more or less instantly. And then that is that part of the kit done. So we'll move on to step 2 in a second. Okay, right, so this is fairly dry now. What I'm going to do is the next step. Now we have the base, and as you see there are 2 little feet on the base. They go onto the 2 little burrs on the bottom of the alien itself. Now this is quite tricky to do as it is. On a webcam, on a camera it's quite difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this in place on here like that. So it's in place, and I'll just be 2 seconds. Right. Now, rather than putting the glue on the alien, I'm putting the glue on the base, and I'm using a fur bit because we're going to cover that when we paint it, which I'll get around to in the next video. I'll show you how to paint them in 2 different ways, the James Cameron way and the Tom Woodruff Jr. and Alec Gillis Jr. Way. Sorry, Tom Woodruff Jr. and Alec Gillis. They're the guys who did the alien effects for Aliens and Alien Resurrection. Okay, so just leave that now, and I'm just going to leave that for a couple of minutes to dry. You may find that you need to prop the figure up so it actually dries in place. You can just basically put something against the back of it. This is a super glue carton, just leave that there, and it'll dry quite quickly. So I'll come back and do the final 2 steps in one moment. Okay, right, so that should be suitably dry enough. Yep. Okay, so the next step is to glue the arms and the tail onto the miniature. Quite simple, just a little drop of glue onto your model. Now, as I said at the start of the video, oh, he's fallen off because I'm preempting myself. He's fallen off because I used polystyrene cement. I'm actually going to super glue his legs in place because it's a lot easier. Just put the arms on. You can put them in whichever way you want, and you can use any of the arms that you desire because it doesn't really matter. And what we're going to do is, I've glued one arm on and I'm going to have this other arm reaching forward as if this is about to lunge forward. I can pick it up like that, and they only go on one way around. It's quite easy to tell which is left and right, like so. Okay, so as you can see, it's got quite a menacing stance. Then the final thing to do is the tail. Now, there's some people on the forums and on the Facebook groups have been a bit vocal about the way the tails are, saying the tails are too rigid. Your tail can go on any way you want it to. You can pick the tail up, you can have a tail so it's pointing down, you can have it so it's wrapping round, you can have it over the back. One of the easiest ways is to just glue it in position like so and leave it so it looks natural. The one thing you don't want to do is have the tail so the tail's lower than the base. So normally we should do this step whilst it's actually on the base. It makes it a lot easier. But I never make things easy for myself. I'm doing videos, so nothing new there. Right, so I'm just going to leave that to set for a second, and then we'll come back and I'll attach the model to the base and we'll see what it looks like finished. And the tail falls off. Okay, so that's the tail and the arms and the body back on the model. And managed to knock his arms slightly, so he's not in the same pose he was before. But I did cheat because he wouldn't stand up for some reason. It could be that the polystyrene cement's too warm. I used a little bit of super glue and some activator, which is this stuff, also known as Zap Kicker. I just sprayed that and it just basically speeds up the drying process so it dries almost instantly. And that's the alien assembled. I've still got another 3 left on the sprue to do, which I will do off camera and put them with the rest of my models. But basically that is how we go about assembling our alien warrior for another glorious day in the Corps. Right, so in my next video I'm going to cover how to actually paint them, and I'm going to, as I say, do the aliens and the Alien 3 versions of how to paint them. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and I've been getting a lot of good support over these aliens videos, which is fantastic, and it's always nice to see fellow aliens fans around the world, and I've had some really nice feedback. So thank you again. As I'm doing this video, it's coming towards the end of 2020. I hope that your 2021 is far better than 2020, and no matter where you are in the world, stay safe, stay healthy, and above all, stay frosty. Bye.